You could be praying 5 times a day, fasting every Ramadan, giving charity, and still feel empty inside. That moment when you finish Salah and wonder why you don't feel the peace everyone talks about. Why? Because most Muslims are missing the one thing that brings Iman to life. And it's been right in front of you the entire time. By the end of this video, you'll see your faith completely differently, and it might just transform your relationship with Allah forever, inshallah. Have you ever felt this spiritual burnout? You wake up for Fajr, pray your Salah, make dua, but something feels missing. Your heart isn't fully present. Your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feels distant. I spent years feeling this way. I'd stand in prayer, my body present, but my soul somewhere else. Going through motions that should have been meaningful but felt hollow. I was checking all the boxes, praying, fasting, avoiding major sins. But inside, emptiness, disconnect, spiritual drought. One night after Isha, I broke down completely. My forehead pressed against the prayer mat, tears flowing, asking, Ya Allah, why do I feel so far from you when I'm doing everything right? What am I missing? Why does my heart feel dead? We're drowning in content, notifications, and endless scrolling, but starving for connection with our Creator. Our attention is fractured into 1,000 pieces, and our spiritual focus is the casualty. Here's what most Muslims don't realize. Iman isn't just about actions. We've reduced our faith to a checklist. Pray 5 times. Fast Ramadan, pay zakat. But the reason your spiritual life feels empty isn't because you're not doing enough. It's because you're missing the foundation that makes those actions meaningful. And it all comes down to the very first pillar of Islam, Tawheed. But not the Tawheed you think you know. I know what you're thinking. I already believe in Allah. I'm a Muslim. I've got Tawheed covered. That's exactly what I thought too. But Tawheed isn't just about believing Allah exists. Even the disbelievers at the time of the Prophet acknowledged that. The real meaning of Tawheed is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes the center of your life, the core around which everything else revolves. If the first thing you reach for in the morning isn't Allah, then someone else is already sitting on the throne of your heart. Let me ask you something personal. What's the first thing you reach for when you wake up? For years, my phone was the first thing I touched in the morning. Not my prayer mat, not the Quran, my notifications, my dopamine hit, my social media. I didn't realize it then, but I was starting each day by making something else my priority. My first thought, my first concern. Without realizing it, I had placed other priorities on the throne of my heart. Not idols of wood or stone, but modern attachments, status, money, comfort, approval. Look at the world around you. So many people are anxious, chasing, burning out. What if it's not because they're lazy or bad, but because their center is missing? Ask yourself honestly, what do you fear losing the most? What occupies your mind throughout the day? What dictates your emotions? If the answer isn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then something else has taken his place in your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks directly to this in the Quran. Have you seen he who has taken as his God his own desire, and Allah has sent him astray due to knowledge, and has set a seal upon his hearing and his heart, and put over his vision a veil? Imam Ibn Kathir explains that this verse describes those who follow their own desires rather than guidance from Allah, rejecting truth simply because it conflicts with what they want. What you prioritize is what you worship, whether you realize it or not. So how do you break free from this cycle? How do you stop the dunya from controlling you and start experiencing Iman the way it was meant to be? It comes down to what I call the CENTER framework. 6 transformational shifts that put Allah back at the center of your existence. If you commit to these starting today, I promise you'll begin to see changes in your life, inshallah. C. Connect with Allah first. Before you connect with your phone, before you speak to anyone, connect with Allah first. Ask yourself, is this pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's your filter for everything. Not, will this benefit me? Not, will people approve? Just, is this pleasing to Allah? When you start doing this consistently, things you thought were normal suddenly feel meaningless. Your prayers will become refuges rather than burdens. Your heart will naturally gravitate toward what brings you closer to Allah. E. Eliminate digital noise. Everyone today is distracted. Mindless scrolling, endless entertainment, the constant chase for dunya. I realized I was spending hours on content that gave me nothing in return. My screen time report showed 5+ hours daily on social media, but I didn't have time for Quran. If you don't control your distractions will eventually control you. Start small. Delete apps from your phone for 30 days. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Stop seeking validation from people. When you post something, ask yourself, am I doing this to please Allah or to get likes? Because when you disconnect from the temporary, you naturally connect to the eternal. N. Navigate life as a traveler. Most of us live as if we're going to be here forever. We build elaborate plans and chase worldly goals, while postponing our spiritual growth. But the ones who truly live are those who never forget they're leaving. Have you ever stopped and asked, what if I died tomorrow? What would actually follow me to the grave? The Prophet said, be in this world as if you are a traveler or a passerby. A traveler doesn't build his permanent home in a place he's passing through. A traveler doesn't get attached to things he knows he'll leave behind. Begin your day by remembering death. Before any major decision, ask yourself, how will this affect my akira? T. Transform your routine. Small, consistent actions transform your spiritual life more than occasional grand gestures. Revive one authentic sunnah of the Prophet daily. Make wudu before sleep. Say Bismillah before everything. Smile as an act of charity. This isn't about perfection, it's about direction. E. Evaluate your attachments. Free your heart from attachment to things that don't last. Practice intentional simplicity. The Prophet lived simply not from lack, but from choice. What possessions are possessing you? R. Remember your purpose. One day this life will be over. The distractions, the excuses, all gone. You'll stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. No wealth, no status, just you and your deeds. In that moment, what will matter is not what you owned, but what you gave. Not how you looked, but how you lived. Think about the companions of the Prophet. What made their iman so powerful? They lived Tawheed in every aspect of their lives. Their compass always pointed to Allah. Imagine if every Muslim today rediscovered this reality. The transformation wouldn't just be personal, it would reshape our communities, our ummah. This isn't just about feeling better during prayer, this is about reclaiming the legacy of believers who changed the world because they understood what truly matters. Subscribe right now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos on modern challenges Muslims face. If this message touched your heart, start your transformation today. Begin with just one shift from the CENTER framework. Share in the comments either one thing you're going to give up or one sunnah you're going to revive today. I read all comments and respond to as many as I can, inshallah. And remember, true iman starts with putting Allah at the center of everything. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.